now for the question portion of our discussion. You each have 2 minutes to answer these questions. The first question, and I'll let you know in advance, we'll start with David Price, and then Brad Miller, William Randall, and B.J. Lawson. As you well know, our economy continues to struggle. If elected, what additional steps or actions should Congress pursue in order to stimulate the current business environment?
I think there's 3 essential elements to economic recovery, and each is related to the others. The first is recovery efforts proper, and that involves counter-cyclical activity designed to prime the pump, designed to get jobs created and create ripple effects through the economy so that economic activity is revved up again. Jobs are created, and of course the idea basically is to have the small businesses, the private sector take off and once again begin investing and creating jobs. Along with that, as Brad has stressed, comes the need to make certain that we never again have the near meltdown we just experienced these last couple of years. That means making sure that taxpayer bailouts of the financial sector are a thing of the past. It means making sure institutions are operating safely and soundly to start with. It means making sure that consumers are protected from predatory practices. In other words, that the rules of the road are clear to all concerned and that they are enforced. And the third component then is charting a course back to fiscal balance. One of the, probably the greatest handicap we faced when this recession hits was that we were no longer balancing our federal budget. Unlike the 1990s, we were going deeper and deeper into the deficit hole with borrowed money for all sorts of purposes that sounded perfectly good. But when you abandon those pay-as-you-go rules, we started this recession very deep in the hole, and that has made the recovery all the more difficult. So we cannot find ourselves in that situation again. We need to chart that course back to fiscal balance. That's why the work of Erskine Bowles and Alan Simpson and the Deficit Commission is so important. Many other things maybe we can talk about later. We need the right kind of trade agreements. We've made a start on revising the tax code, so offshoring of jobs is no longer rewarded. Believe it or not, we've been rewarding that. There's a whole range of things we can do.
It is amazing that we're hearing from my opponent a lot of words that sound good, but when you look at his actual voting record, I could not be in more violent disagreement with what has been coming out of Washington. When you have an over 2,000-page health care bill, included within that bill is a new requirement that all businesses are going to have to file 1099 forms for all purchases of any sort over $600 in a year as part of a health care bill. How is that helping small business? The way we get out of this recession is we let government in Washington focus on its constitutional responsibilities. And that means less federal spending, lower taxes, fewer regulations, and we have to dispense with this legislation that is literally putting handcuffs and straitjackets on the American people. It has never been more difficult to earn a living in this economy. And when I hear people talking about more lending to small business, well, an even better source of funding a business than lending is actual profit and savings. Yet all we talk about is literally a war on capitalism where profit is criminalized and money that you have you're lucky to keep because the government's letting you keep it. We need to restore the economic rule of law, accounting transparency. My opponent, he likes to talk about how bailouts are a bad thing, but he's yet to meet a bailout that he hasn't voted for. This is blatant hypocrisy. And when it gets to the point that we have government in Washington picking winners and losers and socializing the losses of the too big to fail on the rest of us, folks, this is out of control. It is time for us to insist upon the rule of law, to insist upon the government that lives within its means and its constitutional mandate and serves us, the American people, equally.